Hey traders, and welcome to Jackrabbit Trader. My name is Steve, and in this video we're going to take a look at what I look for in a weekly breakout trade. So if you want to get those steps down and know exactly what to look for, stick with this video. If this is your first time here, we're putting out new videos every week, so make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and of course like the video if you're enjoying the content. Let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do when looking for a weekly breakout trade is to run through a scan. And I really love Thinkorswim because of the options and the criteria that it has for scans. It allows you to create some custom scans, which I have here. But I go through all of this in my free e-course at jackrabbittrader.com/weekly process. So you can head over there. I also left a link on the right or left. I always forget which one it is. But you can head on over there and check that out, and we'll go through the scan in a little more detail. But one of those custom criteria is a close that's greater than the high from 1 bar ago. So basically I want to make sure that I'm using the previous high of the candle, so whether it's weekly or daily, in my case it's weekly, and I want to make sure that the stock that I'm looking for is closing above that, and that's what triggers either a breakout or a pullback like we'll talk about next week. I also use moving averages to filter out different trends. All right, I want to make sure that it's in a long-term uptrend and also a short-term uptrend. And we talked about moving averages real quick last week, or actually 2 weeks ago. So definitely make sure to check out that video if you missed that. But when we run through the scan right here, you can see the S&P 500. So it took 500 stocks into 31. Of course, none of these are actually setting up the way I like to, right? This is only going to get us part of the way there. Then it's going to be some manual work to go through all these stocks and make sure that there's an actual trade. So we'll look at one real quick. We'll pick one off this list and we'll look at it. And that one is HD, Home Depot. All right, and you can see that the stock is moving higher, right? It looks good. The close, while it's ever so slightly, is above the previous close, okay? Or I'm sorry, the previous high, which was 231.75. It closed at 232.02, so it meets that criteria, meets my volume criteria, but it doesn't meet my breakout. But we'll use it just as an example for this video. And what we're looking for it to do is we want to find points where resistance has been breached. And we talked about resistance in a few videos back, so check that out as well. But resistance is essentially the level at which sellers are outweighing the buyers. So, you know, if we look at this uptrend here, okay, we have an uptrend in place. And you can see if we follow along behind that, there's a resistance point at 281 and there's a resistance point at 207. All right, and what we're looking for is a consolidation that then triggers a, where we can identify support and resistance in a very tight range, and then a breakout above that. And you can see here that we don't have that on this trade right here, but what we do have, or which one we do have it on a trade in AEE, and this is one I put out to my Jackrabbit Report subscribers. So if you're not on that email list, I send out the trade alerts every weekend. But this is exactly what we're looking for: an uptrend in place, okay, and then a very, very tight consolidation where the stock is just bouncing between resistance, in this case 77.58, and support at 75. Okay, so it's bouncing in here, it's tightening, okay, very tight consolidation. And then ultimately you get a breakout right here out of that range. So at this point, the buyers have overwhelmed the sellers, okay, and the stock started moving higher. The sellers no longer had enough supply to keep this stock lower, all right, and that's why it broke out. So that is what a weekly breakout trade looks like, and it's great to know what it looks like, but how do you actually trade it? And this is the way I go about it. Oops. Okay, so the first thing we want to find these type of stocks. So again, you go through your scan, then you do the hard work where you go through, the pared down results. All right, so you can go, in my case, I go from 500 down to 31 that was on that scan, and then I take it even further and I get to like 5 or 6, which again is what I send out to my email subscribers. And when you have a breakout, you want to also know, okay, we know where you're going to get in, right? We know we're going to get in on that breakout. So in this scenario, using where this white circle is, that close was $79. All right, so now where is the support? Okay, and the support is right back to that consolidation. Okay, so in this case, support was at $75. So what I'm basically saying is I want to buy at 79. If for any reason we close below 75, then I know that this breakout is not going to work. Okay, I'm out of the trade. I want to be done with it. So you size then your position accordingly, and you move on. All right, and you let the trade work, and you let the trade work. And again, just going back, if we were in AEE, there's a couple different areas along this uptrend that idea worked out. Okay, and these are all potential buy points that you could have gotten in, okay, to this stock and this trade, and all along the way moved your stop from 30 or 55 up to here. So here, this is why I love support and resistance, right? So here we had the breakout, it looked like it was going higher, boom, and then all of a sudden came right back down. Where did it come back down to? Support, right around 63, and then what did it do? It bounced right back up. Okay, so these are all different levels. So in essence, and this is again one of the reasons that the weekly chart is so amazing, at least in my perspective, working full time, I could have easily gotten in here at $60 on this consolidation and a breakout, and then trailed my stop and trailed my stop and trailed my stop, and now this trade that I put on at $60 is now trading at $80, and I really didn't have to do anything. Okay, now obviously the market changes and my market cycles that I talk about change, and that may dictate what I do, but this is a very simple, straightforward trend following approach to the weekly breakout trade, and that's all there is to it, right? These nice tight consolidations where you're able to identify support and resistance, and then ultimately look for that breakout above resistance, use support as your stop, and then go on with your life, right? There's no reason to sit here and watch this trade each one of these bars a week. So this initial one breakout was 625 of 18. Okay, and I'm doing this video on September 30th of 2019. So for 15 months, you could have sat in this trade, and all it's been doing is making you money, and that's how you get consistent income. Take another look at, go back to that HD trade that we were talking about, and you still have the same idea here. Okay, multiple times. Here's support, here's resistance, breakout. Okay, little tight consolidation. Okay, you want to get a little wider, you could say that's a breakout. All right, you can get a little wider, that's a breakout. Now, those aren't my ideal setups, but ultimately those are breakout trades, and those are trades that you can take. Let's go back a little further. Let's go to a Disney trade. Okay, this is one that didn't work for me. All right, so here was a breakout. Okay, super wide, right? So what happens when you get these moves that are really, really wide? My entry was 130, stop down here at 108. Well, it just keeps, if you follow along with my e-course, it keeps your position size really small, gives you the opportunity to add to that position. All right, so started a position here, and I'll even turn on the trades for you. Here they are. Okay, got in 31 shares at 131. Added an additional 17 shares at 145 and sold the 48 at 142. Now that must have been because of a market cycle change. All right, and again, we go over that in the e-course. Also go over that in my members only Jackrabbit Club. But you could see here that sometimes they fail. Here was support at 139. It failed. What happens when it failed? It came down, tried to get back above. Old support becomes new resistance. Sure enough, touch that, and now breaking down. So this is now starting a downtrend, okay? There it is. And if you're into shorting, which I'm not really a big fan of because I never can make some money or any money, but this has the look that maybe it wants to go back and test this old resistance level at 120, right? It's a lower high, a breakdown below it, and it works the exact same way. All right, so that's the weekly breakout trade. Next week, we'll talk about the weekly pullback trade, a little bit different, but same idea behind it. All right, and that's it for this week. So again, if you're new here, please make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, ring the notification bell, leave a comment below, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.